Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Commander Cheapskate Gamer Reviews. And on today's episode, we are taking a look at the brand new game made by Snarling Badgers Studios, Space Station Zero. Space Station Zero is a science fiction skirmish game that can be played by either doing single player campaign mode, co-op campaign mode, or traditional campaign mode with multiple players, and is made by Snarling Badger Studios. Now, in case you guys are unaware, Snarling Badger Studios is the studio that has been founded by Adam Loper as well as Venturella of both Tabletop Minions and Warhammer Weeekly fame right here on YouTube. A couple years ago, they actually released another game, their very first one from the studio, called Reign in Hell. We actually did a Commander Cheapskate Gamer Reviews on that game system, as well as did a battle report series with a campaign using those rules, and it was absolutely a blast to play. It was a really great game system, and the best part about it was an independently developed game made by YouTubers right here on our community. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look real quick at Space Station Zero and go over the book real quick and talk about whether we think it's a good buy or not for your future mini wargaming needs. So with that being said, let's get this video on a roll. Alright, so right off the bat, just to let you guys know, this is created by Snarling Badger Studio, which was founded by Adam Loper of Tabletop Minions here on YouTube, as well as Venturella of Warhammer Weekly. And like I said before, their previous game was Reign in Hell, which was an amazing game system. It was a really quick, combat-oriented skirmish game system that took place in the bowels of hell. Now this one, which is actually kind of nice, is a brand new game called Space Station Zero. And the cool thing about this game, it's a good combination of either solo play, co-op play, and multiplayer skirmish game as well. So it's really awesome as well. The cool part is that you could actually have this overall arcing narrative where you can have solo play, co-op play, and multi-skirmish games continuing on in this overall narrative as you try to explore the infinite depths of Space Station Zero. And the nice thing about this game as well, which is also really awesome, is that it's a miniatures agnostic game, so you can convert, build, assemble, or 3D print to your heart's content, because pretty much any miniature goes in a miniatures agnostic game. That's also another really cool thing about Snarling Badger Studios, because their rule sets are just simply that, just rule sets. It's very little overhead in terms of purchasing miniatures or other materials to play their games. You can pretty much use the miniatures that you already have on hand and have an excellent time playing a brand new game system. So now that we're done introducing this product, let's go ahead and talk about the challenge game mechanic that makes this game so interesting. So, in this game, they have a system called the Challenges game mechanic, where basically your players and your fighters and the members of your crew have to take on different environmental challenges, as well as other players, as well as NPCs in the campaigns in order to achieve objectives. You use D12s in order to determine your successes in order to figure out if you succeed in those challenges or not. Now, these challenges use a combination of the stats of your individual fighters, as well as a challenge test to overcome those challenges, and this game also features critical successes and critical failures in this game mechanic that also impact whether you succeed or fail horribly in this game system. It's a very flexible and very easy to understand and intuitive system that makes it really awesome. And all you need is a handful of D12s and you can get yourself started up on this game. Now when it comes to movement as well as combat in this game system, it's very simple and it's also very fast paced and oddly enough very intuitive as well. So once you get the ground rules running and you understand how this game pretty much works, you can start playing almost immediately after reading the pages. There's not that much rules in terms of complexity of those rules. They're very simple and, like I said, very intuitive. So once you get the rule sequencing down, the game cooks up very quickly as well. At the same time, you also have the use of equipment, weapons, as well as special abilities and skills for your crew, which is very important in this game because not only does it affect things like movement, it also affects things like combat, as well as various environmental challenges that your crew will need to overcome in order to progress further on in the campaign setting. So let's get to the very heart of this game, and the heart of the game is the crew in which you play. Now, for those of you guys who are unaware of the narrative is that different people spread throughout the entirety of the galaxy, human, aliens, and multiversal creatures, and otherwise have found themselves stranded in the middle of dead space, millions of light years away from anything in this super massive space station known as Space Station Zero. These aliens, when they come aboard, they have no clue who each other are in most cases. And at the same time, they're just kind of stuck here and forced to survive. So when you have your crew is pretty much the entire party that you use in order to explore the depths of Space Station Zero. And when it comes to your crews, you can choose anywhere between 4, 6, or 8 crew members to form your crew. Now, obviously, the fewer members that you have in your crew, the more elite the statistics are on these fighters, whereas the more large your crew is, the more fighters you have, the less elite they are, and the more basic they are as well. Now, this does not include the commander. Your commander is an individual miniature, so and overall your teams will be anywhere between 5, 7, or 9 miniatures in size. So if cost of miniatures is a concern of yours, you don't need very many to actually play a crew. You need up to a maximum of 9 miniatures, which would be really nice as well. So for those of you who are a little bit more cost conscious, that aspect does exist in that game, so that part is kind of nice. Now, aside from that, once you figure out how many crew members you're going to have in your crew, the next thing you need to figure out is what kind of ship type your crew comes from. Now, you don't necessarily need to have a miniature for your ship type. All a ship type basically does, it determines your crew's composition in terms of fighters that you'll have in it. This will determine a couple of things. First of all, determine your commander's bonuses, because your commanders have bonuses to their stats because of the leader. It has an impact on crew composition, like what kind of crew types can you have in your crew, as well as some impact on the starting equipment that you can choose from in order to equip your crew. And you have many different types to choose from depending on the playstyle that you want. A couple of examples are groups like scientist ships, explorer ships, smuggler ships, pirate ships, etc., and that will actually have big impact on the kind of weapon you start off with, what kind of special abilities you have, what kind of bonuses you get to your stats, as well as what kind of equipment you start off with as well. Now, when it comes to your individual crew members, they have different jobs and different classes, things like medical officers, pilots, soldiers, etc. There's a whole bevy of different types of crew members that you can have making up your crews, which also gives you, of course, different special abilities, different status mechanics, and so forth. And because of that, depending on what you have, your stat bonuses are changed because of your crew types as well as your ship type. Same thing with the special abilities they have, depending on what their role is in your group. Needless to say, the more diverse you can possibly be with your crew, the better, because there are varying different challenges throughout the campaign system. So having a good mixed fruit bowl of different types of crew members are really going to help you out in your campaign as it progresses. And finally, last thing we're going to talk about real quick is your commander. Your commander does have their own statistics, and it can be enhanced and customized further depending on what you want to emphasize for your particular style of gameplay for that commander. At the same time, you also have what is known as edges. Edges are additional perks that will assist your crew in the game, and there's a whole list of different kind of perks you can have. For example, one of them is called Armored Force, which means that your crew is equipped with power armor, for example, and that gives you some armor buffs as well as the campaign develops. If you, of course, want to see the full list of different crew member roles, the types of crews you can take, etc., I suggest you pick up a copy, because there's actually a big list of things that you can choose from to make your gangs. Now, when it comes to equipment in this game, the equipment is actually quite nice, because what it does is it boosts your stats in the various challenges you face in the game. Like I said, you pretty much have 2 types of challenges you'll be facing, either against other fighters or against the environment itself. So it's very simple and very uneasy to understand. A lot of these gear that you have gives you additional abilities, boosts to your combat abilities, for example, or for movement, that sort of thing. And because this is a miniatures agnostic game, that means pretty much anything goes for modeling your miniatures as well. So for example, if you want to model a specific weapon type that's available in Space Station Zero, you can pretty much use whatever you want to represent that weapon for your miniatures, which is really nice as well. So that's the cool thing about agnostic miniatures games. You can use whatever you need to fulfill the role that you want in your campaign. Now, one of the cool things about this campaign system, you do have injuries as well as advancements. You can suffer injuries that would affect your crews over the long term. Things that you can suffer, for example, are permanent death or injuries that will reduce stats for your individual fighters. And like I said before, more of that is detailed within the campaign rules itself. At the same time, you can also gain experience from the members of your crew as well. Usually it means a stat increase of some sort for your crew members, while your commanders can also get stat increases, but more importantly, can earn very powerful special abilities that will help you as the campaign progresses. Now, when it comes to the campaign system, like I said, there's a variety of ways that you can actually play a campaign of Space Station Zero. One of those ways you could do so is through either solo play or co-op play with different players. The nice thing about this campaign system is that it does feature an enemy AI system for both solo and co-op play. They do have a set of rules for that, so that way it can help you out. At the same time, you also have 24 different scenarios called challenges for players to survive through. And the nice thing about this, it's kind of like a combination of a miniatures war game as well as an RPG story element type of game. And the reason why is because as you complete a challenge, more often than not, one type of challenge will lead you to a completely different set of challenges, or there's a table that you roll upon to determine randomly which challenge you go to next. So every single time you run through this game, it actually is pretty cool because you can actually have a totally different experience every single time you go through this campaign, which is kind of nice. At the same time, if you want to have a legacy type game where you have a crew that made it through its very first run and you want to take that same crew again and go through a different run a second time, you can do so, and there's actually specific rules on how to do that and how to achieve that objective as well, which is really awesome. So for those of you who like to level up your crews and want to run through them multiple times, you could possibly do so. And that solo and co-op play is really nice because you have the enemy AI system that can attack you guys. At the same time, you can also assist each other or cripple each other as the game develops. And finally, you have what are known as skirmish challenges, and skirmish challenges are cool because these are multiplayer games where you actually fight against each other's crews. And there's 6 different skirmish challenges that you can play with various type of environmental effects as well as enemies to fight against as well, and it's really cool. So if you're one of those kind of guys who like playing multiplayer brawls and just have a battle royale style game, you could possibly do so. You can have up to 4 players per skirmish in these multiplayer skirmishes. And the nice thing about that is that the campaign system overall can use a combination of co-op, solo, as well as skirmish challenges. So you can have any number of players with their own individual crews. They can run by themselves, they can run in co-op, and they can also have these multiplayer skirmishers. So there's a large mixed bag of things that you can do to make this campaign extremely interesting over the long term. So that's one of the coolest things I thought about this game, was that you can the solo play, the co-op play, as well as the multiplayer skirmishes can be melded together into one single narrative for your campaign. And to me, that is really cool because it adds a variety of different things that you can do. So in my opinion, this is a definite buy, especially if you're looking for something new and interesting to play, and especially if you already have miniatures on hand. It's a nice way to actually use your same miniatures that you have on hand for a totally different gaming system and actually open your repertoire of different games that you can actually play in, which is always the dream, having one set of miniatures that you can use for multiple gaming systems, which is always a great idea. At the same time, I love the idea of the single, co-op, as well as multiplayer campaign and skirmishes being intermixed together and being used in that overall campaign narrative. Plus you have that awesome legacy game mechanic as well, where you could take your experienced crews and run them through the same, not through the same, but run them through multiple runs of exploring the depths of Space Station Zero, which is really cool as well. So I definitely say it's worth it, especially when you look at the price. So you can buy this, of course, from War Game Vault, which is a print-on-demand publishing service from Snarling Badgers Studios. You could actually order the PDF for $13, or you can get the softcover book, which costs $18 for that. Or you could actually do the combination where you can both get the PDF and the softcover book for $18 for both of them. I would actually suggest doing the PDF and softcover book. That way you have a physical copy at hand if you need to, and of course if you're traveling somewhere or you don't want to carry the book with you, you have a very convenient PDF that you can use electronically or digitally as you guys are playing. So overall, this is a great product. At the same time, you'll also be supporting independent game development, and at the same time helping out 2 fellow YouTubers in our community. So there you guys have it. This is my overall view of Space Station Zero by Snarling Badgers Studios. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for the latest, greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.